Hi, guys. Today we are talking about data notebooks. Now, I know a lot of people think this is scary, but I promise you this is a lot easier than you think. If you work in the same district as myself, then this will look really familiar to you as it is already set up. All right, so here we have a Google spreadsheet, and it has already been set up with some really wonderful fields, and it has already been set up with a graph. Okay, so we're just going to talk about inputting the student information so that we can get this graph to look the way we want it to look. First and foremost, with any type of spreadsheet, any document you do in Google, you want to give it a name, and you want that name to be something that is useful to you. So I'm going to use the student's name for this. Next, we see some fields here that are off to the left-hand side. We have student, annual goal, objective benchmark, how often data collection is required per IEP, and type of data collected. So under student, we're going to go ahead and put the student name. It's our annual goal. We want to copy the annual goal directly from the IEP. I have gone ahead and copied mine. Next is the objective and or benchmark. I do realize that some people do not have to use objective benchmarks, but in my district, we're still required to do that. And so if you're required to put in objective benchmarks, you are going to go ahead and copy and paste it directly from the IEP and put it in there. Then the next question is how often data collection is required. This information is also in your IEP, but typically you want to at least do this 2 times per week. So that means if I'm doing data 2 times per week, then that means I should see dates that are closer together so that I have 2 data points in a week. Next is type of data collected. Again, this comes directly from your IEP, and all you're doing is just putting in the information that's in front of you. So you can see I've already put mine in, Dolce list, and informal assessment. Now for the fun part, putting in the data. So this is really simple. It's not complicated. To get this percent sign to show up, I really just highlighted these cells and clicked on percent in order to format the cells, right? Date goes here, really simple. And notes, you will always want to ensure that you've included the type of assessment that you're using. So you can see for my student, I'm using a 4th grade list for these first 3 assessments. Now, let's say that on this day, the student scored 0%. You can see as I change the numbers, the graph automatically change. Now let's make that more realistic. Let's say he dropped down to 60%. And this could be the day that I switched over to a 5th grade list. Let's just say that those numbers are really difficult, or those words are really difficult. I'm going to go ahead and plan. And the student is really, really struggling. As you can see, as I entered in more data, the graph changed for me. I did not have to do anything because the graph is already tied to this data set. Let's say the student all of a sudden got it, had an 80. As you can see, I got a student who is at the top of my graph, but the student is not at that proficiency level. Really close, but not consistently there. And so those are some things we would want to talk about as an IEP team. But this graph or this sheet, I can go ahead and hit Control P and go ahead and print it out for my parent. So when I get ready to do the progress report or anything like that, I already have something that I can hand to them that is valid, and we can talk about it in the child's IEP meeting. Well, that is all for this video. I hope you have found it helpful. Feel free to leave me comments below. Have a great day, guys.